We're going.
Hello, I'm Mark Hawkins from Voyten Electric. I'm going to explain a little bit about the DB breakers from 25 up to a DB-100 between single position, which I have sitting in front of me, and the 3 position, which all I have is a mech. The 3 position has an excussion plate that goes in and out. The 3 position or single position does not. What we do, that's on all DBs from a 25 up to a DB-100. They all have that difference between the 2 style mechs, between a single position and a 3 position. We have different attachments that fit on the electric operated or a manual operated breaker. This is a shunt trip, which is on the breaker. This would be the bigger shunt trip. These are only on the DB-50, DB-75, and DB-100. This one that I have held in my hand has got a bell alarm attachment on it, which if you took this off, it'd be the same as this little shunt trip here. It's just the difference between the big style and the little style. You have 2 different style relays. You have the little style relay on the DB-50s, 75, and 100, and you have the large style. It mounts in the same area, it's just larger than the smaller one. You have different electrics. Some of them will be anywhere from 240 to 480 to 120. It'll run off a different, they're not all wired the same. They can be all wired different. Like this one has a rectifier on it for the closing coil. Not all of them will have that. They're all wired different. You just have to understand that we cannot wire them to just a typical, because they're not typically wired for your application. We have electric lockouts, which this device here allows you not to close the breaker not unless you have power on this to close the breaker. After the breaker is closed, the power can be released. It just locks it out so you cannot close it in. We have UVRs, an under voltage device. This is an under voltage device. Usually it mounts over here and it works off if you lose power, the breaker will trip out. This is just a standard UVR. Then we have a UVR with a time delay. It'd have this little attachment mounted on the back, which time delays the opening of the breaker, like 3-4 seconds. We have different styles of copper on the back. We have an old style copper and a new style copper. This here, if you see the thickness of this from the groove, this is an old style copper. This one that I'm holding in my hand is the new style copper. These are the new style finger clusters. This is the old style finger cluster. This finger cluster will fit on this breaker, which is old style copper, and the new style. This copper, which is the new style finger cluster, will not only fit on the new style copper, it will not fit on the old style. If you have a fixed mount breaker, these rails would not be on here. You would only have these bolt holes. You would have no finger clusters. Your secondaries would not be on here. These are secondaries. Not all breakers have secondaries, not unless they're electric operated or if they have an attachment on them. Which your bolt end would be just a copper, no side rails, no lifting device, and it just bolts into the breaker. The only other difference we have would be a DBF breaker, which is a field discharge breaker. The difference in these is your 2 outer poles are open while the inner pole is closed, and when it closes, it's opposite. These 2 close, this one opens. There's a difference between them because this is a field discharge and this is just a standard breaker over here. Basically, and they will make these in a 3 position and a single position. Just look for the excussion plate.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.